Hello and welcome to the Microsoft Megabyte for June 4th, 2021. This week, we're focusing in on one of the most used and most useful apps in Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android, Microsoft Edge. So, in the wide landscape of powerful modern web browsers, what makes Edge really stand out? Okay, well, let's dive into that right now with our resident internet nerd, Alex Humble.
Oh, thanks, Brian. I appreciate all of the different titles I get each time I come on this great podcast.
Now, Alex, is it true you do use the internet?
I do, from time to time when forced.
Great. So that's why you're just a perfect candidate to discuss Edge. I mean, this really is one of those things that just becomes a default app that people use, or let's be honest, sometimes it's a default app that people immediately replace with a different browser. So I think that's really why it's important to dive in and talk about what makes Edge so special. As you and I know, there are new features that come out all the time, seemingly on, like a fortnightly basis for Edge. And it's really important to keep up with this stuff and let our customers know what this browser can really do. So let's start out with some of the newer ones, some of the newer changes to Edge, because I think at a baseline, we all know that Edge is, hardware accelerated. It gets good battery life on whatever device you're using. It's optimized for all the kind of, background tabs and forefront tabs and everything. So that's great. It's, of course, does everything you'd expect a modern web browser to do. But then there's stuff like, kids mode.
So we just had our first kid, and my wife and I, not you and me, but my wife and I. And
I was shocked there for a minute.
All of a sudden becoming aware of just all of the things that are on the internet. Now, of course, there's the tech side of it. You can go way to the extreme. You can start controlling, via DNS filters, firewall filters. Most people have no interest in doing any of that. So there's some really great features that are built right into Windows and into Edge. Number one is family safety settings. We talk about that a lot. I would recommend one of these newer features, and it's called Kids Mode. Kids Mode is built right into Edge, and it's only available on Edge. You're given a choice of two different profiles depending on the age of your child, and this will set up and totally reframe Edge for a more kid-friendly experience. So that includes what websites they're able to visit, where the sources for information comes from, and suggested content from trusted partners. So it's a really, really nice way to ensure that you've got stuff that's safe for your kids without having to get into all of the technical details that most people don't want to do.
Of course, yeah. And it's almost impossible to keep up with the Wild West that is the internet. So this is really that feature. Kids Mode is really that place for a parent to let their child use their device without worrying about, as you say, content sources or what's going to come up in the web search that they're doing, like making sure that all that stuff is something that the parents are comfortable with. Kids Mode has all that stuff set by default. And I will tell you, yes, having 3 kids myself, just finding like kid-friendly websites that are interesting, engaging, educational, but also, not dull. We can't just, as much as I'd love my kids to spend all day on Wikipedia all the time, it's just not realistic. So it's like, okay, so what are the websites? Well, Kids Mode and Edge helps that. It's that content aggregator for things that are safe for your child's age group. That's something that's a real key differentiator that you're not going to find in every web browser out there.
No, and one of the pushbacks that we received when we bring out a browser for kids is, I used to wonder why people would mention, kids' ages in months. Like, why does it matter? Well, it's because they develop so quickly that those months or even weeks really do matter. Right. And so, you can't just have a browser one size fits all for, quote unquote, kids. Right. So we do have two different experiences. We have a browser that's built for kids that are ages 5 to 8 years old, which is a very simplified browsing experience. It's pretty cute. It's really kind of fun to look at. And then we have one for slightly older kids for 9 to 12 years old. And that is, it gives a little bit more control, a little bit more access to articles and news, again, all from more trusted sources. But again, it's going to set things like tracking prevention and, do not track requests to very strict. So kids are getting a good experience without being bombarded by ads or any sort of additional tracking that we just wouldn't want to have with our kids.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about tracking in a minute. In fact, I think we can talk about safety in a different context by leaving Kids Mode and talking just about a new feature called Password Monitor itself. So this is to keep passwords themselves safe. What does that even mean? What point or purpose is it to have a built-in password monitor in a browser?
Yeah. So many people who are in the industry or maybe friends and family, you know that you should be using a password keeper of some sort. It's really important that you use a different password for every website. Now, that said, I know we all don't do it. I don't even do it. Sometimes, you've just got those old passwords that are floating around out there. Well, they're floating around out there for you, but also for many other people to see. I think people are becoming more and more aware of just the availability of resources that allow bad actors to get access to your passwords. And we have so many of them, it's very easy to forget which ones have been recycled. So there's a feature that's built right into Edge called Password Monitor, easy to remember. It informs you that any of your passwords, if they've been compromised in a data breach. Now, these features exist from a bunch of different forms, from I have been pwned. There's a lot of ways to get to this, but most people have no idea what that is all about. So we bring it all into one central place. This Password Monitor within Edge automatically checks any of the passwords that you've saved within Edge against a known database of breached credentials. This database pulls from a ton of different sources, and that's how Edge is able to check to see if your password has been breached and then is being used somewhere else.
Hey, just because anyone can access my Wells Fargo accounts by typing in the password StarCraft4 number 4 ever LOL, that's fine. It's a great game. It's a great legacy. There's no reason to change that password. But what are you talking about? So you're saying a data breach happens and Microsoft Edge, my web browser, can tell me if I've been affected by one of those. I assume by data breach, you mean like sometimes we hear about on the news, like, 17 billion accounts were just compromised from this website or this social media network or something. Is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
Exactly. And so oftentimes, it's these websites, they store so much data about us, and it's so complicated the way it's all stored that there's sometimes avenues for that data to be leaked or for a bad actor to get in and forcibly remove that data. And so oftentimes what happens is they then post that information in sort of a paste bin, some big dump of information, gigs or terabytes of information. And so there's lots of websites that then take that information and scrape it and make sure it's available for good or bad purposes. What Edge does is it takes that information, and by obscuring your passwords, it's not sending out your password requests in plain text. By obscuring it, checking it against those known databases of collected information,
okay,
you're able to get the benefit of a lot of technical mumbo jumbo that I've been talking about without even having to understand any of it. It's really, really cool, and I was very surprised to see it show up.
Yeah, this is the level of feature that is built into Windows, okay? That's built into, I shouldn't say that because it's broader than that. It's built into Microsoft Edge. And this is the level that a customer may already be paying for a service that does this kind of thing. It's always exciting to talk about these features that are built into these apps that are so good. They're the kind of features that people are paying third-party websites, services, whatever, to do this for them. Well, guess what? It's built into Edge to keep you extra, ultra, super safe, which I know, Alex, means a lot to you because you have various sizes of tinfoil hats that you like to parade around town. And, online safety means something different to you.
I do have an entire collection. Brian, have I told you about my tinfoil hat collection?
Let's just move on. We're making fun of it, but it really is a serious issue. And it's one that keeps getting more and more confusing, which is just online safety in general. I mean, we've all been there when we get an email or a text message, more likely from a relative, that's like a screenshot of an email or of a website, and they're going like, "Is this right? I'm trying to buy this set of antique drum sets, and is this like real? It's saying I just need to send them my checking account information first, and then they're going to reimburse me." And you're like, "No, do not click on that, Mom." And this kind of stuff, though, we don't always have those resources, those individuals to send out. And frankly, that's not a scalable solution. Just keep sending screenshots to one another. So what the heck is Defender and Smart Screen? And why is it so critical that these features are built right into Edge?
So Defender is built right into Windows 10. We all know that it is a great way to keep yourself safe from viruses that potentially, you could receive from opening a variety of different things. But one of the things we don't think about is what's built right into Edge itself, and that's Smart Screen. Smart Screen takes any of those websites that could be mimicking, a legitimate domain like Microsoft.com, and maybe you accidentally type in Microsoft.com, and that could take you to some, website that's going to steal your IP address. It's going to do as much as it can before, you figure out you're on the wrong site, maybe phishing, whatever. Those are the kind of websites that are checked against a database through SmartScreen, and it's instantly blocked. So it's a really, really nice feature to keep, those who maybe aren't in the know safe from doing something that could harm their computer while on the internet.
Yeah, it's also important to note that you and I have been tech guys for a long time, for basically our entire lives. And we've been around the block a few times, and we've seen these kinds of security vulnerabilities and threats come out, and different kinds of websites, and sort of the evolution of Trojans to phishing to malware and all that stuff. And yet, you and I still to this day will get phishing emails that we're not too sure about, that we may accidentally just click on too quickly. And what it was a test from like Microsoft saying, hey, here's an email. Click on this to update your employee registration information or something. You're like, oh crap, I got to do that. Click. And then what it does is it launches a website that says, well. This was not, did you notice that the link did not go to Microsoft.com? Did you notice that there was typos in the email? Did you notice that your name wasn't even spelled correctly? And you go like, oh my gosh, no. How did I not? I thought I knew what I was doing. Right. And still. So I think that really drives the point home to everybody can benefit from Defender and SmartScreen.
It is, like I didn't make up Microsoft.com. That was one of those things that tricked me. And I got to that site that said, nope, nice try. Be more aware of what you're doing. So Microsoft tests us all the time to make sure. But for our parents, for our grandparents, they shouldn't have to deal with that sort of thing. And that's why it's nice to recommend something like Edge that not only has all of the compatibility of Chromium, the Chromium engine built in, it's also got all of these great security features built in.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And I think that actually dovetails quite neatly to the other thing we wanted to talk about, which was tracking prevention, because that kind of takes all this to a more specific level of tracking prevention. This is generally where the most tinfoily of tinfoil hat wearers will be expressing their concerns.
Yeah. So data it's been called the new oil, right? There's more money in tracking our data as consumers than there is in extracting petroleum from the ground or crude oil or whatever. Yeah. So it is an incredibly lucrative industry. Oftentimes we don't really think about how we're using these programs. We just, appreciate that they're free and we click accept and we move on. I think we're waking up to the fact that some of these websites, these services, while they are fun and there's lots to be gained from them, they also have a darker side that's, heavy tracking. And that's not only for those sites that, you've paid or that you've signed up with. It's also just sites that you visit all the time. Right. And that's a feature that's built right into Edge to clamp down on that. So if you go into Edge security settings, you can see that you have 3 easy to understand levels of tracking prevention, from basic, which allows most trackers across websites, all the way to strict, which blocks a majority of trackers from sites. It limits trackers only to the site that you're on. You can't, get an ad for whatever you're viewing on one page when you go to your Facebook. If you've ever wondered how you're getting that same ad, it's because, you're being tracked across multiple websites. For some, that's fine, but others, I think we want to be a little bit more conscious of that. In the past, that required a lot of annoying extensions. Now it's just built in with 3 easy options right into Edge.
I think nowadays we all have a lot of identities, and I don't mean that in the creepy, manipulative or secretive way. I just mean your work identity has its own share of websites, logins, resources, network files, and everything. Your personal life, or perhaps your side gig that you do, has its own series of websites, logins, and financial stuff, and Venmo accounts, and all that stuff. And you don't ever want those 2 worlds overlapping and becoming confused with one another. You don't want your expense report information to get mixed up with your personal finance information, all that stuff. So when talking about, yes, tracking prevention, keeping things separate, there's also a big way to keep things separate in Microsoft Edge, which is profiles themselves. So thinking about, you log into, you have your desktop computer in, let's say, your kitchen, and your wife logs in under her profile. She sees all of her interests. She is able to see her email. You then sign in under yours. You see your desktop background has changed. Your files are there, your emails. We all know how that works on a PC. So why would there then need to be multiple profiles in the web browser?
One of those things that we've learned, as people transition to work from home, is that separation between work and personal, not just during the day, right? You do need to take a break. It's good to have that separation space if you can, but digitally as well. Some employers are more or less, interested in everything that is going on the PC. So you want to have that separation. And it could be, just as simple as bookmarks, which you're accessing on your work side or on your personal side. And the profiles within Edge, which by the way is where you find that kids mode, that really makes it easy to switch between, the multiple hats, hopefully not all tinfoil, that we are wearing throughout our day, when we're spending it digitally. So this is just a really nice and clean way to separate, when I click on this link, it's always going to open in my work profile. When I click on something else, well, it just opens in my personal profile. And Edge can do that automatically. So if Brian sends me something through work, Edge is smart enough to know, hey, open that in your work profile, and then it automatically logs into everything that I need. And it keeps it separate from my personal life, which, as you can guess, to me is a big deal.
Wait a minute, it's a big deal. I thought you didn't have a personal life.
No. I mean, it's all been erased. I'm a ghost. I wish.
You have no personal life.
Right.
You've been erased.
Yep.
Yes, so that multiple profile thing is. I think a lot about college students and people who have just those big areas of their life that are so different. They do have those different areas, and that it really changes things to know that you adding a bookmark here will not add that bookmark onto your work account. That's just one of the main areas to help keep your digital life organized and structured. And it goes beyond that too, when you think about organization and structure, because there are features in Edge. Again, we're talking about all these things that are differentiators and key reasons why someone might want to explore Edge before downloading the browser they've been using for the past 5 or 10 years that just becomes their default. Explore these features because yes, multiple profiles is a huge deal, but also we have things like collections. Now, collections, my pitch for collections is that it is just a much more dynamic way of thinking about favorites or bookmarks. Because I don't know about you, but like when you're shopping, let's say around the holidays, you don't want those bookmarks around forever. They get used and then you move on. Or you're doing a home renovation project. So you start bookmarking contractors, bookmarking, different products from Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. And then the home project goes by and you're done. You don't necessarily want those hanging around forever because it's sort of like project based or seasonal even. And that's where collections comes in. And I think it's really epitomized perfectly in that shopping scenario, even integration into Pinterest itself. So that's why I think collections needs to be explored by anyone who is multitasking on the web or has those projects or research assignments or anything like that. Because then once you're done, that collection just goes away and you're on to the next thing. That is really why I love it. And I think it goes even beyond that in terms of shopping and extensions, because can't you also use Edge when doing that kind of holiday shopping? Isn't there a feature that lets you like actively save money?
Yeah, so you'll notice this when you're shopping around on a variety of websites. Edge will actually pop up and let you know up there in that search bar that there is a coupon available for the product or website that you are on. This is a really, really nice feature. There's tons of these communities that collect and aggregate deals, but you got to really be checking those every single day. And if you're looking to buy something right now, it doesn't really help you. Where Edge will go out and actively search through a variety of different sites to find you a coupon that can work for the product that you're looking at right now. It's an awesome feature to help you save a little bit of money. I mean,
hey, ask your customers, ask your users, is your current browser actively saving you money? No? Get on Edge. I don't think they're going to use that as an ad.
No, but keep trying.
Okay. Okay, Alex, there's genuinely, I'm looking through my list. There's so many more things I wanted to talk about, like inline dictionary, picture dictionary. Like if you're reading an article in Immersive Reader, you can enable a picture dictionary so that you can just hover over words and see an image of what that word is. I mean, there's so much. Vertical tabs, a whole new way of talking about or working with tabs. Why have the tabs go across the top of the bar when you can have them neatly stacked on the far left side and toggle through them that way? There's so much to explore in Edge. I cannot stress that enough. But we only have so much time here and so much attention from our listeners. So what are some of do you have anything really, really new and fresh, like maybe something that's not even out fully yet?
Yeah, hot off the old Edge presses. So we have Math Solver. Math Solver.
What are you talking about?
I know.
In a browser?
In a browser. It's so new that I don't think many folks have heard about this yet. So Math Solver, it's very similar to what maybe you'd find in OneNote or some of our other applications. But since so much has moved online and so many students are now doing the majority of their work through digital learning tools, we wanted to make sure that there was a way for students to solve and understand complex math problems right in the browser. So starting with, I want to say it's the Microsoft Edge 91 stable release, which is the build number. You will see if you go into settings and into more tools, there's a new feature called Math Solver. And simply by typing in a math problem or by selecting it by drawing a little box around the math problem, Math Solver will actually solve that problem for you and show you how to do it with step-by-step instructions. It's a great feature for kids, students who are trying to get through some complex math problems, and for parents who need help to explain these complex math problems.
Awesome. That kind of feature really shows how Edge is evolving and adapting to the crazy changing times that we're living in, and really giving users these features that you would not expect, almost like little applications built into Edge itself that you wouldn't expect a browser to include. But this is why we really wanted to do a whole focus on Microsoft Edge, because there's just a lot to know about it. So, Alex, humble, tinfoil extraordinaire aficionado, I bet you didn't think that all of your paranoias and misgivings would actually turn out to be valuable for us one day, did you?
This is great. Now I know that all of those times that I've sent you these messages about, data and tracking, you've been paying attention, Brian. And I'm sure someone somewhere appreciates that. So thank you.
Listen, no matter what you say, I'm still keeping my tracking prevention set to basic. I love seeing those ads. I love those ads. Okay, don't do your fake laugh on this podcast. We have a sensor for that. We have an AI that's tracking how fake your laugh is. Goodbye, Alex.
Thanks, Brian, for having me on.
This has been the Microsoft Megabyte Podcast, a training tool for Microsoft field team members and sales professionals across the country, produced by Microsoft employees.